Restaurants have traditionally enjoyed a crucial and privileged place in the history of dating, providing us with enough privacy to get to know one another and enough public scrutiny to help us feel safe as we do so. The food and drink has largely been an excuse. But what we decide to eat and drink together on a date isn't merely incidental to the real task of mutual understanding. It too is rich in psychological clues, communicating messages about who we are and what we might be like over a lifetime. How we order on a date can, in a minor key, belong to the task of winning someone else over to our cause. So, let's think of a number of ways of ordering food and drink that suggest intriguing and complex things about our identities. A large mixed salad accompanied by a plate of fries on the side. We could eat the fries with our fingers and occasionally dip them in the vinaigrette. This would communicate that we're pretty sensible in many ways, with a keen eye for restraint and a decent amount of self-control. But at the same time, it would suggest that we aren't afraid of our own more impish desires. We'd be hinting that we were a sound blend of the mischievous and the prudent, that we had enough self-mastery and obedience to have earned the right for occasional moments of unorthodox indulgence. Fish fingers off the children's menu. Through our order, we'd be implying that we could recognise, without anxiety, the claim of the more childish parts of our personalities, but that we were sufficiently grown up to be undisturbed by their presence. The order might work best if we combined it with an obviously sophisticated starter or dessert. No one can be free of the legacy of their early past, we'd be saying through our food. What matters is the maturity with which we can acknowledge and navigate around it. Almost nothing. After putting in our bare order, we might allow ourselves to say with beguiling frankness that we were simply too nervous to eat. This would be importantly different from, and much more attractive than, merely ordering a normal amount, then pushing it idly around our plate. We'd be showing that we were upfront in revealing that the date meant a lot to us, and that there was, in our eyes, nothing shameful about being anxious in relation to an event that might turn out to be hugely significant. Our inability to countenance any dessert whatsoever, not even a few berries, would be a flattering way of sending out a message that we were in the company of someone with a power, maybe, to alter our lives. Cranberry juice. The deep red drink would be a symbol of independence. We'd be making a rather unconventional order through it, this not being what people typically ask for in a restaurant. But it wouldn't be willful or crazy either. We'd just be quietly asserting that we didn't mind appearing a little odd for the sake of getting something we genuinely liked. We would be, via the glass, saying that we were our own sort of people. The chicken, but we'd add with a large smile and a huge, polite and patient explanation, ideally without the ginger and the garlic and with the sauce on the side in a little jug, if that was even vaguely acceptable to the guys in the kitchen, who we really hope wouldn't be put out by this sort of, in our words, unbearably fussy request. Through this kind of order, we'd be communicating that we knew our tastes were complicated and off the beaten track, but also that we had the self-belief and requisite charm to lay out our desires calmly and without undue or grating petulance. Everyone in relationships turns out in time to harbour a host of very particular requirements. No one, however casual they might appear at first, is ever really easy in the long term. So, what matters hugely is if we've learnt the art of communicating our needs clearly, with grace, without entitlement or willfulness, with the wit and will of the best teacher, an accomplishment there can be perfect opportunities to display in our approach to the ordering of the main course. Something we hadn't ever ordered, but that was sitting on our date's plate and that looked especially appealing, and that we'd very sweetly ask if we could have a bit of. In this way, we'd be communicating that we were ready to step over conventional barriers in the name of friendship. That we understood there were certain standard obstacles to intimacy, but that we were interested in finding a few playful ways of getting past them, possibly later that night. In the end, the success of a date will not hang entirely on what's eaten or drunk, but nor should we ignore how much can be communicated through such details, and therefore how legitimate it always is to reflect at depth on the more apparently minor sides of love.
To learn more about love, try our set of cards that help answer that essential question: who should I be with?